All right, you're all in for a treat. If you're tuning in now, it's the perfect time. It's the start of the broadcast, and it's the first best of 5 today. It is, of course, all for the TING Open Season 2. Make sure you guys go to bttv.ting.com for $25 in credit. This isn't just for their phone plan. You can also buy anything off their store with that credit. So maybe you want a new phone. You want to save $25 on said phone. An unlocked Galaxy S6 doesn't sound like such a bad deal, especially with $25 off. So make sure to go, again, bttv.ting.com to claim that credit. Spawning on the bottom right side of the map, though, he is going to be one of our favorite Protoss. We see him on the regular. It's the red Harstem.
In the top left, as the blue Zerg, he is Liquid TLO.
Of course, Harstem playing for Invasion Esports. Gotta remember to give some credit, because for some reason he doesn't have a clan tag on. Sabu, if you're watching, you gotta crack that whip, man. This is why your tier 1 player lost at DreamHack. Okay, I'm sorry.
Wow. Bring that up. Gosh.
Actually, so I was surprised at that. If we're going to talk real for a moment, Namshar is a very talented player, and at DreamHack Austin, I was watching Harstem with anticipation and excitement to see him, what I thought was going to be stomp Namshar and move on to the brackets. Namshar, Zerg player, not bad at all, did actually manage to beat Harstem in a pretty close series. Ace match, I believe, was the score. So that doesn't bode well, I think, for this matchup, perhaps, for Harstem, but Austin was a whole tournament and a half ago. Tours has happened in between. And now we find ourselves back in a more comfortable spot, in his home, not locked outside the house, and able to play StarCraft comfortably. All jokes aside, though, I do favor Harstem a little bit in the matchup. Unfortunately, results recently haven't.
Sure. I mean, he did a really nice job in the qualifier to get here, actually, because he wasn't the one that was invited, right?
Correct. TLO and Bly were the two invited players.
He actually 2-0'd Bly, so he had to reinvite Bly. He 2-0'd Zancer, and he 2-0'd Monado, all Zerg players. So he's actually looking pretty decent in the matchup right now. I guess, like, currently. But he has been, I don't know, like, I feel like he's been going through, like, the last month, ever since Austin, like, kind of a, just, like, I don't know what the word is. Like, he wasn't depressed or anything, but he was, like, a little frustrated that he wasn't doing as well as he should be,
well,
I guess, in his eyes.
We're seeing that with a lot of the players that have a bit more of that personality, Scarlet as well as some others, where just, like, certain matchups really are tilt-inducing, I guess you could say. I don't know if that's how he feels about this one, but, well, we are talking a lot about Harstem. The other aspect needs to definitely be mentioned here, TLO. Really like TLO. A lot of us love him because he's friendly, he's funny, yada, yada, yada. But he's also had a bit of skewed results. He didn't qualify through either qualifier. We did invite him based on the fact that he showed some pretty good games, and he got decently far. Plus, you're never going to be disappointed watching a TLO game. Even when he loses, he manages to do it in a very magnificent fashion.
Yeah.
That being said, I'm wondering if he can overcome what is Harstem in this first best of 5 today. But reminder to everybody, with Beastie and Bly and other parts of the group, Harstem may not even be the scariest opponent he has to come up against.
I cannot believe that the last time these two played against each other was a year ago, but that's what Eligulac says.
Really? That's crazy.
I mean, we see them so commonly, I guess, and, we like both of them individually. I just assumed that they would have faced each other in one of our tournaments, but yeah. I guess whenever one joins, the other one doesn't that week or something like that. So it's been a while that they've actually faced each other in something so notable as to be included in Eligulac, which includes those weekly cups, so like, that's gonna be super, super big deal.
So
that's
hashtag ladder heroes.
Yeah, exactly. We're probably facing each other on ladder. And, I mean, that Namshar best of 5, again, it was like a month, almost a month and a half ago. It was also, like, Namshar, as we've cast him once or twice since then, he just is kind of an older style of PvZ, where TLO, I think, like Snoot, is going to have that newer style of PvZ, and maybe almost exactly like Snoot, because we see a Baneliness already. And I don't think they're copying each other's, like, styles that often, but I think we're going to not see, like, what Namshar was showing us, which is, like, Roach Hydra and, like, Roach All-Ins, which Harstem might have had more difficulty with than this.
There's also this aspect of TLO that is a little bit different than most. Like, all jokes about the creativeness aside, you're more likely to see burrowed Banelings out of TLO, for example, than any other player, I feel. So, while the Baneling strategy in general is quite good, it's something where you also have to worry about that extra step that only players like TLO will take. It is interesting to see them mate so early, though, like, and strictly in anticipation of some sort of defensive fight. This isn't like a bus coming across the map. He's got about 6 at home, ready to take on any amount of early adepts, which look to be certainly coming his way. The downside, though, is we've been seeing a lot of Protoss players get so good at splitting. It's like they started playing Terran for a little bit just to practice, and those Banelings really do not hit well when it's only one target. These aren't 45 health Marines These are adepts with 80 health and 70 shields. It takes quite a few hits to take them down.
Yeah, that is absolutely true, and we've definitely seen a lot of that. You have the Banelings prepared, you still die to an Adept all-in. We've actually seen Adept all-in just work really well in the past 2 weeks. But this isn't an all-in, but it is an attack. Like, it is something that he dedicated to get Resonating Glaze and Warp Prism, and we'd like to do some damage, or at least keep the Warp Prism alive. Unfortunately, it's already taken quite a lot of damage,
Yeah,
so it's gotta wait for those shields.
E-drones go down for this as well, so I mean, as long as that Warp Prism lives and can continue to harass, warp in over here, shade the Adepts into the 3rd, that's going to be fantastic for Harstem. That first attack, definitely worth the money, but the question is whether that really hurt TLO or not, as we do know he's still on quite a nice drone count behind that.
Yeah, I think that was like a reasonable amount for the Protoss to take a 3rd base, and for TLO's already at like a pretty solid drone count. Now he is getting that +1 missile. It seems to be that, you know, it's either +1 missile, well, it actually seems to be lately even more the +1 melee, or both. It's actually less and less just the +1 missile attack, which is kind of interesting when you're going for Ling Baneling Hydra, but nope, going for that missile attack. I don't know if he'll dedicate entirely to those Banelings. He's not getting triple hooks.
He just canceled the hatchery there. I'm really curious what happened. Once again, we do see TLO's APM spiking like crazy. This is confirmed a bug at this point. TLO allegedly does... This is what I was explained. He allegedly does this thing with the remove from... or the steal from other group command, and that somehow bugs out the APM. I don't know in what way it does, but apparently it does. And that's what causes his APM to sometimes spike like crazy mad. Not that he's building 40 Hydras and 17 Banelings. It's more that he's just got lots of things happening at once that do have high APM, but not in the way the game's anticipating.
Nope, not in the 2000 area. Well, this is a bit of an odd attack, just like an odd time. It's, you know, not exactly a huge Protoss force, but it does have those sentries and just the 2 Immortals to make it a little bit more powerful.
I'm wondering if it's better after abandoning the base. TLO just doesn't have the army to fight this. He will in a moment when more Hydras are out, but initially, like, the Banelings... There's not a lot for them to go off on. Force fields will likely come down, as we see here. Not actually hitting those force fields. Loses those frontline sentries. Harstem not paying attention for a second because he was he's warping in over here. That's why.
Okay. Okay, that makes up for a little bit. He does save it and kills 5 drones. So, okay, he didn't really lose that much of the Banelings. That was supposed to be a cleaner attack, but, you know, well. Also about the Militia Corps to recall, which we're seeing, I think, more and more. It's like we're seeing units that were definitely even overused, I would say, in Heart of the Swarm, like sentries, the good force fields, and Mothership Call recalls. It's like they're figuring it out again. So this is the only player that has been distracted by something else, or just straight up, you know, macroing back at home, that has lost sentries on the front line to Banelings. Because I remember, like, it's way too often that we're like, yeah, I'll just force field it. Oh, the force fields didn't go down. Okay.
No bueno.
Or, you know, oh, if only had a Mothership Core there. And now we're seeing it more and more, I think, with these mid-game attacks. Just a little bit better control. Remembering that recall's a pretty good spell.
Yeah, it's... I hesitate to reference him because it's been so long, but Noni was actually showing some really abusive things that were getting highlighted with Recall back when he was playing Heart of the Swarm. And his force fields do come down, but they're not the greatest force fields. Harstem will be enough to back away once again, but these are not like engagement-worthy force fields. You're not catching Hydras, you're not splitting the army in half, you're certainly not zoning out Banelings. I like Harstem's army, and his composition's not bad, but the sentries are really low on energy. The disruptors are on the way. Committing to anything right now might be a bad idea. I think he is just looking to provide a little bit of pressure, protect his 4th base, and wait for those disruptors to really get the party going.
Yeah. It's also cool that Harstem is taking the forward 4th base as opposed to where these units would actually be attacking it right now. Can attack and defend his what is soon to be his most important base. A couple of warp-ins, no big deal, but it is hoping to distract what TLO pushes in at the front. Not exactly a large number of Banelings, but now they do have speed. There's up there, I think one disruptor's on its way. There it is. We can have about a little bit, but it's more about those force fields, I think. Yeah,
at this point with the concave being set up out of TLO, the idea is you want to keep that from happening, but the base looks like it's going to have to get canceled. If not, it's going to get killed. There's a warp-in on the other side of the map. Harstem going to lose his Nexus, but maybe TLO going to lose a lot of drones? Not yet. He's looking to keep pushing in. This is getting dangerous now. You're getting really close to that choke point. Disruptor going off. Doesn't really hit much of anything. The Banelings get in on top of the army. Oh, this is going so badly for Harstem. TLO, it's got a lot of Hydras that still haven't been dealt with.
Oh, wow. That was so close to Blink being done. At least you could have saved the Blink
one
Stalkers, but... I mean, even then, I guess they would have rolled into the Immortals.
Well, TLO going to try and back away from this. Might be, again, he may have gone just a little bit too deep, but he certainly got his money's worth out of that attack. The Adepts are going to cause him a bit of trouble, and he's going to lose some Hydras for it. He knew this, that's why he segmented them off like that, trying to just minimize his overall losses. He did have to pull drones. He didn't lose any through that attack, just worth noting, so he's in an okay spot coming off the back end of this, but just bled out a lot of units on that front line. All for a 4th base. Was that worth it?
He also bled out a few units to those Adepts. Like, the Adepts didn't do nothing, the ones that were warped in the natural, but unfortunately he did lose the Warp Prism for it, so I don't know if it was necessarily worth it. He did... I think the biggest thing is that he didn't cancel that 4th base. Like, that, he knew he was retreating, he knew he wasn't going to be able to save it, and he just was, you know, he was doing too many other things that I either forgot or just couldn't get a click on it fast enough to cancel it. And that's 400 minerals. That's actually a big deal. That's the instant reimplant as opposed to waiting a little bit later. That's, of course, 4 more, you know, charge lots. If he's getting charged, he's not. He's getting Resonating Glaives and just a lot of Adepts and Blink Stalkers, but that hurts. As long as he holds here, that's not a lot of Lurkers.
Well, there's also not detection, so...
Oh, well, that's true.
Here comes that first Observer. Only reliable on the Disruptor shots to take these out, of course, but regardless, these Lurkers are nice siege units. Getting some nice positioning here. Umbros to back away. This is one of those problems we've talked about before. Like, even if you unburrow right away, like, TLO still lost one of the Lurkers. It's so hard to react to Disruptors. They move so quick. At least their shots do. He's starting to lose out this front line, though, so they might want to just pull the Hydras back, try to recover, realizing now, oh, there is detection.
Yeah.
This
that
is
wasn't
bad,
a very
though.
big army.
He doesn't have anything to fall back to is the problem for TLO.
This could be problematic. TLO's not looking so great on the gas income.
Ooh.
He's one of the main problems here. And his Ling reinforcements, like, the Lings can help out a little bit, but it really, you know, it started off with that Baneling Hydra composition, and he really can't afford that many.
Where are the Overseers? Snipe off that one Observer, and these Lurkers become infinitely more powerful.
That's a good point. Sometimes he actually literally does not have the gas to make an Overseer, so maybe he just keeps forgetting. That could be a problem. Harstem's army is looking better, and now his 4th base is up and running. I think it is as well. It's happy army supply. GG.
So does TLO. All right, game number 1. Gonna go to Harstem. I see people clipped my madness from before the first game, by the way.
When you were mad about the packaging?
Yeah. Just throwing it all over the room. I'll give that a retweet. All right, so with the first game done, what's map number 2 so I can set up the intro?
Dusk Towers.
What a surprise. And I'm actually, the most surprising thing is that King Sejong got vetoed, I think. Because that would be the classic, like, map 3, right?
Yeah, that was odd to see. I figured who did it.
How's your finger doing, by the way? I just saw the Band-Aid and forgot you had sliced it.
It's alright. I don't really need the Band-Aid, but...
It's like a comfort thing, right? It's like when you're little and you're like, you know, you need a blankie or something. Like, the Band-Aid is such a nice comfort tool.
Oh, I was going to say, because sometimes I still hit it, and just a little bit of, like, cushioning helps. Where did TikTV go?
Because even though I know the Band-Aid in itself doesn't, like, have a lot of healing properties to it, I feel like if I've got a Band-Aid on, like, a cut, it just makes me feel better.
Oh. Well, I don't know. I'll probably take it off at night. I also went to the foot doctor today and had to get a Band-Aid on my big toe.
Oh.
My big toe. It's infected. Ew.
That is pretty gross. I didn't even know that. I've had toe infections, so I know how gross those get. Yo, I actually saw this really interesting video last night about how come paper cuts hurt so bad. And I know, it's just like one of those things you never ever thought about until you watch that video and you're like, oh, that's actually pretty cool.
No, I'm good. Harstem didn't say go. So I guess Take TV's having some audio issues.
Oh. Do they need time? Do you guys need a minute or two to fix audio? We can always just go to a commercial break, I guess. I was trying not to because it's only the first game of the day, but if Take TV is going to be out of commission for like 5 minutes while they fix their audio, I can't really be like, hey, let's start the game. At least I would hope that they wouldn't do it to us, and I wouldn't hope to do it to them.
Are they gonna answer?
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna go to a small commercial break, guys. I'm sorry, I really didn't want to hit a commercial break this early, but Take TV are having some audio issues, so we'll be back in 2 minutes, and I'll update the score here. All right, welcome back to the game, guys. Hopefully we got some issues resolved. Of course, for the one time ever, knock on wood, Our stream's the one that's not broken. Spotted here on the upper right side of Dusk Towers, though, it's going to be none other than the blue Protoss, Harstem, currently leading 1-0 in this best of 5.
In the bottom left as the red Zerg, he is Liquid TLO.
So first game went pretty well for TLO up to a point. I can't say that like committing or not committing at that choke was what killed him, but it certainly didn't help that you take that really good fight, your eyes get a little bit bigger than your stomach type thing, and you realize suddenly like, oh, I've gone too far, I've gone too deep, there's no creep to fall back to, there's no army to fall back to. So I mean, I really like TLO's aggression, I like the attack, I love killing that fourth, but going a little bit beyond that, I think is what really started to hurt him.
Yeah, I agree. No follow-up plan. I mean, we certainly see it enough times whenever, with that whatever style or composition the Zerg is going for. They get stuck on layer. Like if that's Roach Hydra or Roach Ravager or Hydra Lurker or a Baneling Hydra, like, you just get stuck on layer for a long time, think you're in a pretty dominating position, but actually the Protoss is starting to actually get to that almost maxed out point where their army's not really not that bad.
Yeah.
So.
Also, by the way, I have an update. We finally have numbers from TING. So, you guys wondering how many it's going to take to get a Season 3 of TING? They're looking to get 40 people signed up and using TING. Alright, so same goal as the first season. We are currently 4 signups into this. Now, keep in mind, you don't necessarily have to sign up for a plan. Obviously, that's the better solution. But again, go to bttv.ting.com. Claiming that $25 in credit, buying something from their store, signing up for their monthly, or I guess not monthly because it's not a plan, but it's like a rate, but signing up for their services. There's a lot of ways you guys can get involved with Ting. Make sure to check them all out through the website because that's how they know you came from BaseTradeTV.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice to have a goal finally too, because I wasn't sure. I was like, are they going to set it higher? Do we like do too good in season 1 and like ruin our potential for season 3? Like,
right.
Well, I'm glad it's the same. I'm glad it's 40. So the goal is 40 people signed up and using Ting by the end of the season to try and get another one later on down the lines.
Mm-hmm. It'd be cool to have a full year of the Ting open.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, it's a Dusk Towers, and while TLO was a little too aggressive in the last game, there was a little bit of the position that hurt TLO, or hurts anyone really. You're being over-aggressive. If it's a super long map, you backing off, suddenly you have an extra 15, 20 seconds. Maybe that's the difference of holding on or not. Frozen Temple, where the way that Harstem was actually expanding, if you did start losing that tug of war, you're going to actually just fall over immediately. Those towers might be a little bit different. Plus, we already have a different opener here. Harstem goes for a Stargate. It is actually going to go with Phoenix, as opposed to last game where he did do that little bit of a depth harass.
I just realized the Twitch alerts thing I think is a little bit bugged. This is the first time ever it showed a follow, and we don't show people who follow the channel. For whatever reason.
It's true. We do not.
And then we just got a resub that made no noise.
Oh, it made noise for me.
Oh, interesting. Well, I'll try and get that refreshed and fixed afterwards. I have no idea what's causing that. No, I'm going to do it now since nothing's really happening, so you talk.
Okay. Well, thanks to, I'm going to say either Le Jordet or Le Jordet for the 13-month resub. I'm going to try hard French with that one. Hopefully one of them was right. Anyway,
Game paused.
Oh, great, it's a pause. I was going to talk about a Dusk Towers. It's going to take a while to get heated up anyway, but a pause just makes it even greater. Fantastic. I guess I want to note that while Aligulak is not the greatest place to... Jesus Christ.
Game
I can hear all of that.
Oh, sorry. I'm not hearing any of it. That's why I'm testing it.
Yeah, I figured. It's not the greatest place because they don't get everything. Obviously, the ladder isn't on Aligulak and whatnot. TLO does actually have a worse win record in this matchup than Harstem. So while Harstem, I think, I've been tracking a little bit more in terms of his own struggles against the Zerg or just in general in StarCraft 2 and not so much TLO, it's actually the case that Harstem is still looking better. And of course, in that last game, he looked very, very good, calm, decisive for the most part. He missed that one cancel in the Nexus, but and he looked kind of confident against Zerg, which I think is a lot of the problems in any matchup seems to be that people are too scared to do something. I've known Terran versus Zerg, if you're ever afraid to push out, then they're going to get to Ultralisk, and, then you're in for a bad time. If you're for Protoss, and maybe if Harstem was more scared, took that other base, doesn't have a good time. I mean, it's like the butterfly effect, right? We mentioned different things, but Harstem did look strong and confident. And we'll see what he looks like on Dusk Towers, where you can also get a really great start. I mean, 3 bases automatically is pretty good feeling.
Yeah. And it should be fixed, and at least now I'm hearing things. Sorry to have spammed you there a little bit. I didn't think you would hear those. For those that don't know, when she went Jesus, that's because I was spamming like 40 stim packs to see if the sound would turn on or not. So with Phoenix in play, of course, we've talked about this quite a bit. You know, you identify TLOs willing to play lurkers and wants to play lurkers. These are actually a lot better later on than anything else. We've seen a couple of the Koreans bring out things like Void Rays, and question marks go there into whether they're good or not. But going for the Baneling Nest for the time being, the range weapon upgrades, everything here kind of looks like it'll go the same direction as Map 1.
Mm-hmm. Well, we have a Spire, so that's a bit of a change up. We have the same upgrade on the way, the missile attack. We have a Baneling Nest, so, I mean, you could start Hydralisk and triple hooks, but the Spire is an interesting choice.
Yeah.
Especially because it is Phoenix. So, you know, A, the Phoenix should be scouting this Spire, and B, if you're going to try and go for mutas, they're going to have at least the beginning of a response. I mean, this can be tough sometimes because, you know, Harstem scouts both a Hydralisk and a Spire. He can't really know what the Zerg's going for until he sees what comes out of the eggs, but I don't know if TLO is really in a position they could afford both or afford that massive of a transition to try and surprise Harstem yet.
Interesting use of the links for the time being. Knock down those rocks for a potential goal later on. But yeah, the Spire certainly strikes me as odd. This seems more of an option that he just wants to have available for later, because it would be kind of crazy to just go mutas right off the bat. Unless TLO is trying to force Harstem to over-dedicate to air, but even in doing so, that's kind of what Protoss want to do. If they can get away with air, they would prefer to, I think, in most scenarios.
If you see the Spire in the Hydralisk Den and you don't see any Hydras, you might have to worry about, like, first Corruptors, then mutas, maybe even vice versa, depending on how, like, surprising they think they'll catch the Protoss. But you see a couple of Hydras, you know there's not going to be that massive of a transition, so I don't know how scary this is for Harstem, like how much he'd actually be fooled by this, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
But we'll see, it is Corruptors first, which, I mean, could just be to take care of the Phoenix straight up. Like, maybe this is an addition to stop them from picking up the Lurkers, like we were mentioning.
Let's also not forget, Corruptors do serve more than just the anti-air role. They've got that caustic spray ability, which can and does snipe bases from time to time, so investing in these is not the worst thing, not to mention later on the potential Brood Lords and Hive Tech and yada yada yada, but oh, okay, that drone, what did he do?
He disobeyed.
Zerglings, why you do that? This is how you start a civil war, man. The workers will unite, the revolts. You can't make more lings without that income. The workers don't have to mine anything because you're being dicks.
Well, the Corruptors, their third, I guess, ideal part of their use could be sniping observers. I mean, with the Stargate out, you also have the option of getting Oracles. They can snipe those too, technically, and they can actually get through with a bunch of Lurkers. And TLO is going for Lurkers, so I guess that guess was kind of right, just like a support unit for the rest of the ground composition. Now, this obviously takes away a little bit from the said ground composition.
I'm not sure what that was, if that was just like the sickest bait to have the army out of position of all time or what, but it was out of position, so this fourth base in a little bit of danger, but nothing too crazy yet. Most of the Banelings already been popped, the Zealots still alive, more Banelings rolling in from the south side, just finished morphing in, and this Nexus looks like it will actually go down. But let's not forget, it was the fall of the 4th that was the fall of TLO last game.
Yeah, this isn't actually a super big deal. Considering that, I mean, it's like the 3 bases are still mining somewhat healthily, and the army wasn't lost to protect that. I think he found a lot better of an option than just wasting his charges on the Banelings. And that doesn't actually really happen. The Banelings still go into the Archons, the charges go over to the left side, and all the Immortals still alive. Fear of Storms, even though we know it's not quite ready, TLO doesn't, so he's got to be very careful. Yeah,
you got to try and caustic spray the main Nexus as well, driven off by the cannons. I like the use of the Corruptors as just these potential back attackers. But with the Phoenix coming back home and a couple cannons here and there, they're not going to find it too easy to actually knock those buildings down. I'll tell you, by the way, nothing is more tilt-inducing than losing a building to a Corruptor. You're like, why, Blizzard? Why?
Yeah, for sure. But that's very unlikely to happen. You know, it's not that many Corruptors, and the Phoenix are just still out, and, you know, they can't attack both the building and air, so they're gonna just shoot away every single time. I don't know.
Go on,
I like the idea of the Corruptors.
Scram!
But just like, you know, remember back when TLO tried to use fungal or a neural parasite, and you were just like so hyped, and you were like, no, this could be it. I swear. And then it didn't work. I mean, I'm kind of getting that feeling. Yeah, I mean, he might even go for it again. Like the neural parasite, like you brought up really good points when it was being researched. It just is very hard to actually get everything to actually line up perfectly for neural parasite. So I don't think that's what the infestation pit is for. But TLO has, I mean, there is a reason that it's so like typical to call him creative and whatnot. He does do interesting stuff.
Yeah, the Corruptor's trying to chase down the Phoenix. I'm surprised these Phoenix are running from that fight. They could have taken on this Corruptors pretty easily. Regardless, though, didn't scout the army moving out because of this, and there is a pretty big army move out. Now, I really like the Oracle out of TLO. It's going to be a lot more dependable detection, but also scouting. So much of the army was segmented south, though. I don't know that he saw this. He may have got, oh, yeah, I scouted TLO's army. Great. Not realizing there's a huge concave coming from the south. Hydras, Lings, Lurkers, and Banelings. Everything on the front lines that ends with Ling. And, those Templar all go down immediately. Is there detection? There is detection, so he's able to actually shoot down these lurkers. The observer just kind of sitting there pretty nicely. Corruptor's taking out this Phoenix slowly but surely, but TLO's army is shrinking.
Wow, I can't believe how much of a wash this was. I guess there's actually a lot of immortals left, so not quite a wash. This actually did end up going in favor of Harstem, kind of?
Well, he sniped the observer at the very last second. If TLO had done that from the get-go, this may have been a very different fight. I mean, immortals are so good, and not just killing armored units, but taking hits.
Yeah, I was looking at how quickly those High Templars tried to run into the Banelings.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be downhill from there. But Harstem saved his immortals, but TLO still had a good army supply. So I'm not sure. I think this is still favoring Harstem because he's on a 4th base that didn't get touched, and it is mining, fully saturated. So that puts them at even bases, which is not where Zerg wants to be.
I like this hive transition, though. When you consider the Phoenixes were removed, there's not a lot of Stalkers or Archons. It is primarily Immortals. Like 4 to 5 Broodlords could actually be quite good.
I absolutely like the Hive transition as well, but the one fear is that since Harstem's army wasn't entirely wiped, and restarting from 0 Immortals is what really takes a long time, if he ever figured this out, okay, why isn't there a next attack, and he pushed, I don't know if TLO would actually be able to hold. He's not exactly rolling in army and money. Even army actually would probably favor Harstem if he just takes a good engagement area. But that's all, if he doesn't see it, then he doesn't see it. It doesn't even matter. He's going to get to Greater Spire, and then Harstem's in trouble.
A lot of Lings die for 1 Templar. Would have been nice to get the other one. Lurkers, I feel, though, should be able to buy time. Whether it's kind of leapfrogging backwards, whether it's one giant clump of them trying to keep the army back. Everything really, really is dependent, though, on TLO making Harstem think, hey, I'm still going Lurkers and Lings. The second that his opponent, the second that Harstem realizes there's going to be Broodlords, he'll start preparing for it. We'll see Stalkers and Archons in bigger number. We'll start seeing Phoenixes maybe get made again. But right now, everything he has is an anti-ground army. 3 Archons, nothing to Broodlords. Who cares?
Yeah.
It looks like he's anticipating something, so he does throw in a fleet beacon.
I mean, you see the Corruptors first, they have a Spire. Eventually, if the game doesn't end by now, Hive should be coming down. I mean, this is what we saw from Mana. Okay, Mana had even faster, reaction figuring this out, but Harstem still has a good one. It's still pretty appropriately timed, because you gotta wait for the Broodlords, and I'm gonna wait for a couple, and by then maybe a few Tempests will be out. He's got to be careful pushing here, though, because if he just loses his entire ground army, then there's nothing for the Tempest. It's still going to be game over, and he is on creep and going pretty deep.
That charge lot needed to chill the hell out. Jesus. Well, it looks like Lurkers will buy him time. While the Tempests are getting made, here's what the issue with this comes into, right? It's a lot easier for, I think, a Zerg player to abduct and kill Tempest than it is for a Protoss player to engage and kill Broodlords. Unless the Zerg player's out of position, but that's the whole can of worms.
Oh no.
Rip.
Just Storm, yes.
Use it before you lose it, am I right?
Yeah. Thanks to Marth93 for the 13-month resub. I definitely agree on the Viper thing. I think at this very point, if TLO made, 12 Broodlords, and he only has 6, so not exactly too much, that it would favor his attack, but I don't know if TLO's really... I don't know he's attacking.
Wasn't it also TLO as well as Scarlet that were the ones doing too many Vipers? Where we saw amounts of 9+?
Was it TLO? I thought it was some other Zerg.
I could be mistaken. I thought it was TLO. But my point of it is Vipers can be quite good.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree.
This
but I think
is not, though.
No, this is actually really great for Harstem because he needs to do some serious return damage. He might have to give up his 5th base once he sees the Broodlords. So the Broodlords are so slow.
Yep.
Are they just chilling? They're just chilling. Stop. Move. And if he loses the ground army first, 2 Tempests come in, all I have to do is run away from Broodlings for a little bit. Not that much of a problem. Okay. TLO, doesn't really have that much of a ground army to cover these anymore. Some of it's being drawn back home because he just doesn't lose the hive.
The ground army is certainly questionable, but the thing is, Tempests don't take 3 shots to kill a Broodlord like they used to. It's 5 or 6 or something. So it's not so bad. The low Tempest kill will still take a long time to kill them. In fact, there's nothing shooting the Corruptor or shooting it, so that's kind of awkward to watch.
Yeah, it's still going in favor of Harstem. Well,
no, I think it's going to go a lot better for TLO, because right now Harstem's losing his Archons, and if the Tempests all go down, there's no more anti-air. A couple Broodlords coming in, but maybe not. Hold the phone. Last couple Broodlords starting to go down. Tempest might fall, but the Broodlords are certainly down in number.
Yeah,
GG.
He lost the base. He actually lost the other base as well, the 5th.
Okay, I didn't see that.
Had no potential for a remake.
We had a resub, by the way, Martha93, as you pointed out, and anyone else who's resub, thank you guys. Sorry that they're not actually showing up here before we leave the game screen, because we had reset Twitch alerts on account of it just being buggy and weird. Shrug. But we're going to go to an ad break, because this was actually when we were supposed to be scheduling an ad break this time around, so don't go anywhere, guys. We'll see you in 2 minutes. Alright guys, we're back. Thanks for watching that break. Sorry for the hiccup. Harstem was actually taking a while to get in the lobby anyway, so that timed out perfectly. We're going to be moving on to Frost next. Just waiting on players to give us the go-ahead for that.
Yep.
There we go. Alright. So Frost, one of the older maps, brought back to the map pool more recently. Certainly cool to see. So we load into game. There's no intro for this one. I would like to take this time to once again thank Ting, guys. I'm laying it on a little bit thick today, though, because I want to make sure everyone knows to check out bttv.ting.com. The reason we're laying this on thick is we want you guys checking out their website. They're good people. Ting, for those who don't know, is a U.S.-only mobile phone service, however, so if you're not in the United States, you sadly cannot benefit from them. However, good services, good people, and of course, great StarCraft, all thanks to them. Spawning on the bottom right side of the map, he is on his last life in this first best of 5 today, the Red Zerg, TLO.
In the top right, as the blue Protoss, he is Harstem.
So again, I really loved the idea of the strategy, the tech swap, everything TLO did I thought was really smart. Perhaps executed not in the best fashion, but still not a bad strategy to go for. Curious if we'll try that again. Frost, on the other hand, has presented a little bit more opportunity for aggression. Third's being a little more exposed. Fourth's really far away. We'll see what direction this goes, because I feel like it is really on TLO. He's not the one who's going to be sitting back trying to just turtle up and play the game. Harstem will be the one trying to get Immortals out and get an army appropriate to take on any Zerg fight that he possibly can. Yeah.
Honestly, it's like only just now are we starting to delve into the not super safe third bases. It's not like Frozen Temple as Orbital Shipyard back in the day, but Frozen Temple has become kind of the, if Dusk Towers were to suddenly leave, that would probably be the replacement map. It's not like, the third is usually taken. It's not, the all-in map that it originally was or anything like that. Frost, as you were saying, has like a bit more difficult of thirds to take, especially in these positions. If either one of them take a more aggressive stance, it will be a lot like Frozen Temple again, where whoever loses the tug of war first probably just loses. And then I think the next maps are like Arena and Invader, I think, yeah. Arena and Invader. So those would be really weird if TLO were to win this, stop the kill, stop the 3-0, and go on to the next ones. But this is also a map we've been seeing, for whatever reason, a lot of adept all-ins.
Yeah.
Maybe Protoss really don't like taking the third on this map, which I could see why. In these situations, if Harstem took the top left, it'd be probably pretty safe. But it is still kind of far away from where your army will be protecting your natural. So I could see that being a reason, but I guess maybe also... Yeah, actually, that's the only one.
Even though there's zero indication from his play or previous games, I'm just going to cross my fingers and hope to see a Nidus from this game. I really think Frost is a great opportunity to use a Nidus Storm, but again, I want to make it clear, TLO's done nothing to hint this direction.
Yeah. There is a bit of dead space on Frost, but yeah, that has really fallen out of favor. And it's like the freaking like 5 racks, 6 racks Reaper thing. Like that actually wasn't nerfed. It just stopped being good.
I look at it a lot less about like trying to get the sneak attack in, and a lot more about maneuvering around the map. We've seen it already in a couple of games we've cast, where like whether it's force fields on a bridge or those 3 force fields to the south, using your hatchery against you, and the one in the mineral lines. Like, there's a lot of ways that just maneuvering around for a fight is difficult for Zerg on this map, especially if any sentries are made.
Well, that's odd. Two lanes just allowed in here. Not exactly ideal.
I think kind of knew like this wouldn't be too big of a problem for him.
I don't think he wants to see one of the easy scout in that Twilight Council, because it is going to be that fast resonating glaives. Kind of looking like the ability did in the first map, so including a War Prism in here, not an all-in, definitely more harassment, but like what if the Twilight Council wasn't scouted? Would he have gone for the all-in that we were talking about? Well, now I kind of can't. So TLO is going to prepare with the Baneley Nest, but we talked about it in the first game as well. The Baneley Nest, it gives you good tools, but Banelings, they need to be like, they need to get those really good hits to stop adept warp-ins in their tracks.
Yeah. Got a couple of resubs setting us up, so thank you very much to Lepsid1265 for the 10 months, as well as Loden Silverwolf85 for the 13. Aroo! That was a terrible howl. Never again.
That was. And you are alone in trying that.
Oh, okay. Calm down, man. You're gonna start a howl. It wasn't me. Aroo!
Zootopia was a good movie.
I really liked Zootopia. I have actually seen it twice in theaters. I liked it a lot.
Really? I only ever see multiple or the same movie multiple times if it's so good I want to show other people and they need someone to see it with.
Well,
that's why I watched Star Wars 4 times.
The first time I went with family. Second time was just an excuse to hang out with a girl. But
there you go. Yeah.
Still, nonetheless, I really did enjoy it both times.
Yeah.
I think if there was a movie I would actively go see again, though. Maybe The Jungle Book. I actually really liked The Jungle Book.
Oh, that was a pretty good movie. It would definitely be something that was like much better in theaters, Like I'd probably see Mad Max multiple times. I actually did see Mad Max. So
that's something I do wish I had seen in theaters. All right, so the Adepts do manage to get to the middle line. Not going to be too dangerous, though. TLO already on top of this. I mean, this was kind of displayed initially, too, earlier, where he had Lings and he had Banelings and he was able to take on Adepts, and Harstem really had to keep picking up and dropping and just barely getting damage done. This time around, same sort of situation. TLO's on top of this on both sides.
Yeah. But this wasn't an all-in. I mean, having the War Prism alive is almost good enough, but of course killing 5 drones is also what you would really want.
Ooh, a Frankenfurter.
Frankenfurter.
Thank you very much for the 5-month resub. A hot cat, if you will.
I actually was reading this, I think it was like a Facebook post, actually, but it was like, would you suck? Because, we were talking about, what ifs and what you would do.
I think you need to follow that up a little bit more.
Oh, no, it's exactly what you think.
Suck what, a lollipop? A lemon?
Like a billion lollipops. No. Would you suck 5,000 dicks for $1 billion?
Oh, no. You know why? That's not time efficient. The amount of time it would take to suck 5,000 dicks?
People were doing the math. It was either 1,000 or 5,000, I can't remember. And they're like, look, you suck 1 a day, it'll take you 2 years. If you suck 5, it'll take you 6 months, and that's totally worth it. It's $1 billion. I mean, it's a lot of money. Anywho,
I think I'd be
instant follow-up.
No, seriously, I would not do it regardless of the money, just because of the time it would take.
I don't know, I mean, they didn't say how good it had to be.
Okay, unfortunately, this attack does commence with some force fields nicely placed to start with. TLO's Baneley Nest going to be a problem. Exposed on the front lines, but speed not done, and also going to be part of the potential force field wall-off. Without more Baneleys coming out, TLO doesn't have a chance to actually deal with this attack, and Harstem may have just hit a little bit too hard and a little bit too early for TLO to be ready.
I mean, I can't blame TLO for not being ready. He probably saw the third base, figured that it was going to be a while before Harstem pushed out, but Harstem actually wasn't really even making probes to saturate that third base until now.
That speed was denied so hardcore, last second denial. Hydra's trying to get some shots in. Drones haven't really started going down too much yet, but now he's going to pull them into the fray, and I think this is a little too far, too gone, and poor TLO is going to be the first one to go to the losers bracket here at this group stage.
Yep. 3-0.
Cartman State, thank you for the 4-month resub at the end of the game, but congratulations to Harstem for making it through the first match of the day to go to the winners match, where he will wait to fight the winner of BCQD and Bly.
Yep.
All right, so we'll get them. They're actually already online. I'll leave vetoes to you. I'll do the sponsor, sell-out, shout-out stuff. But indeed, this is selling out, but for a good purpose, guys. Without Ting, we wouldn't have this $5,000 prize pool. We wouldn't be able to bring all these players together to create some really awesome games and just keep making StarCraft 2 awesome. So thank you guys for joining us. Thank you, Ting, for making all this possible. And again, Ting is a US mobile phone service. They specifically benefit people who are on Wi-Fi majority of the time. So if you are, truth be told, if you're somebody who uses data more often than not, you're often on the bus, hell, you're watching this now from, like, I don't know, wherever you are, Ting's probably not for you, and they're very upfront about this. They have a savings calculator. They'll even show you whether you'll even save money with them on their plan versus your current plan. Although I shouldn't say plan, because Ting doesn't use plan. They use rates. You pay for what you use, and that's what makes them so great. When I went to the States for Austin, I did the math, something close to like $60 less than I would have for my own roaming charges. So I can save from experience now. You will save money from them, again, depending on how you plan to use them. But I would absolutely commend and recommend anyone who goes to btv.ting.com. You give us a little bit of clicks for the sponsor numbers, and that's always nice, but you might also find yourself a deal, saving yourselves $25 on something from their store, or even signing up for Ting. $25 could legit get you a month of free phone service just to test it. But at any rate, we'll let them do the talking as we go to a word from our sponsors while we get vetoes sorted, and we'll be back ASAP with Bly vs. Beastie TVZ when we return.